Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight is going to be a no shelter winter overnighter. Right here you can see I've got my sleeping set up already ready. I did shovel out the area and I'm not too sure if I want to do a snow wall on either side or just leave it, because there is a breeze coming through but it's not a very strong wind. Now I will mention that this is a legit 100% no shelter overnighter. The only three pieces of sleep system that I have is my bathtub ground sheet. I've got my sleeping pad, which is my NeoAir X-Therm Max, and then I've got my down sleeping bag, which is my 0 degree Fahrenheit Outdoor Vitals bag. And then inside I do have a change of clothes, socks, slippers. I do have my Marmot down jacket inside of there. Plus I have a couple more clothing items in my bag that I'm going to keep stowed away to make sure they stay dry. So with all of this squared away, it is getting late in the day. I can see the sun's kind of going over and I'm on top of a ridge and the sun's going to dip behind the other ridge soon. So I've got to get firewood collected and a fire pit area dug out because I'm going to need to dry out tonight before I crawl into there. So I've got my eye on a spot just over here away from my gear where I can light a fire. I'm going to shovel that out and then collect some firewood and get things going because I'm going to be cold and hungry very, very soon. All right, guys, I got the campfire going, no problem. Just coming over to get my kettle right now so I can get that over the fire with a bit of snow, melt that down, and make some water for coffee. I got a bit of wood over there, but you'll notice behind me over here is all the wood that I cut off those 2 trees. That's all dead softwood. So I'm gonna grab that and bring it over to the fire pit when I need it, because I don't want to carry a whole bunch near my sleeping bag and have all that stuff fall on top of it and get covered in snow. There's a light dusting of snow on it right now, but I'm not worried about that. So whenever I need firewood, basically I'll just come over here, grab a couple pieces, bring it over to the fire pit. And here comes some blowing snow out of the trees. I'll bring it over to the fire pit and use it as I need it. But right now I'm gonna get the kettle over the fire and get some water and make up some coffee. Alright guys, I got my hot cup of coffee on the go right now. I've loaded a little bit more wood onto the fire, and while the water was actually boiling and the snow was melting in my kettle, I did go and collect the firewood from behind my sleeping bag and brought it over towards the fire area. The last thing I want to do is be messing around with that in the evening, and I figure I have some time right now to do it, so I might as well just do it. So that's all taken care of. I got the majority of it over here, and I got a couple pieces of hardwood behind the fire drying out right now as well. And I got to say, this kettle of coffee is going to be very, very enjoyable because I'm going to drink that down right now. I'm just going to chill out here for a few minutes, bring my body temperature down because I don't want to break out into a sweat. I'm already a little bit wet, and I don't really want to break out into a sweat and soak my underlayers. I want to keep these as dry as possible for later on tonight when I got to crawl in my sleeping bag. So the plan going forward is going to be keep this fire nice and warm, finish up my coffee, and then I'm going to load a little bit more wood on there, and I'm actually going to start on supper because I want to get that done and out of the way before darkness settles in, because then I'm not going to be rummaging around, possibly losing some of my pieces of equipment in the snow, and then I'm not going to find it because I'm actually going to probably end up stepping on it or kicking snow over top of it. So I'm going to get everything done during the daylight, and then in the evening, like I said earlier, I'm going to park my butt right here, put my back up against this tree, load that really nice and hot, and just enjoy the outdoors, and hopefully we get a night full of stars. The sky, there's still no clouds up there, so I'm really hoping that the sky just pops with stars tonight. And I've got a pretty decent view through the treetops actually. Right where I'm laying I can see the sky, so hopefully with any luck I'll be able to see the stars tonight when I crawl in my sleeping bag. But for now, I'm going to enjoy coffee, and then I'm going to start on supper. Alright guys, supper time is just about here. I've taken my pot and I've got it on the fire right now. I've already filled it up with snow twice. I'm just going to take a peek at it and see how we're doing. Alright, so I got enough water for my pasta dish, and I've actually changed my mind from doing ramen for supper to cooking up this pasta dish. So this is a little bit larger, it takes a little bit longer to cook, but I think cooking this now, spending that 8 to 10 minutes I think it takes, 8 minutes it says, so probably about 10 minutes to cook. And I'd rather spend the time doing it now in the daylight with whatever daylight I've got left, because the sun is actually setting right now. So I'm going to cook that up, and I did bring one IPA with me. I've got a can here. This is tangerine, mango, and pineapple. So this is going to be really good for later on. And that's kind of the update. So I'm going to save my ramen until later on because it cooks faster, and when I'm in the dark I don't want to fumble around with cooking things. I'd much rather just do it fast and simple and be done with it. So pasta dish, I've got the water here. I think we're ready to go right now actually. So I'm just going to tear this open, get it in there and cook it up and enjoy, because it is getting rather cold out right now. And it's supposed to go down to minus 15, minus 16 degrees tonight. So hopefully, with filling my body with some good fatty foods and whatnot, I'll be able to stay nice and warm, and that sleeping bag will most likely perform the whole night. I don't find I get cold in that sleeping bag, but we will see what happens later on tonight. Right now, like I said, supper time. I want to get this cooked up, and then I want to enjoy. I want to sit back and relax. So let's get this back on the fire and cook it up. All right, supper is finally ready, and I gotta say, it smells amazing. This is very, very hot. Now, what I did with the pasta is I actually added more water than what I needed, and the thought behind that was I'm gonna eat my pasta, and then at the end, I'll have a hot soup to drink as well. So, 2 for 1 with this meal. Let's give the pasta a taste. Oh yeah. That's not bad. I thought with adding a lot of water it was going to water it down. It's actually really good. Alright, so not bad for $1. Basically a sidekick dish that you can find at your local grocery store. Just $1. You can get these in like rice and pasta and whatnot. It's actually really good. So I'm going to relax next to the hot fire. My pants are actually starting to steam and dry out right now from sitting this far away. So that's really good. Later on, sitting in this exact position, I'm sure I will dry out completely. The main concern for me is actually going to be my boots. I have to have these boots absolutely dry when I go to bed because I'm not going to be putting them in my sleeping bag with me. I'm going to be leaving them outside, and if I do that and they're wet, they're going to be frozen solid in the morning and I won't be able to get them on. So priority number 1 is going to be dry these boots out later on this evening and make sure they are absolutely dry for in the morning time. So for now, I'm going to enjoy my supper. And like I said, the sun has gone down actually. The sky, there's no more color in the sky, so it is going to be dark very, very soon. I'm going to eat this up, and then I'm going to do a quick cleanup of the area, get that fire cranked up, and kick back and relax. Okay guys, I'm all done with supper and I've just come over to my bedding area and I'm kind of doing my preliminary cleanup. So I do have all my cooking gear still over by the fire, but I want to start getting my stuff organized before it gets too dark and kind of size up my sleeping area. I like kind of looking at it and seeing if everything's reachable. So I'm going to put my backpack up here by my head. This way if I do need anything throughout the night, I can reach and grab it. I do have my flashlight and my headlamp, which I'm going to keep in my pocket on my person from now on. Till morning time, of course, but I want to keep this on me for 2 reasons. 1, I'm going to need it, and 2, it's going to keep my batteries nice and warm so they don't die. So that'll prolong the life of my flashlights. My sleeping bag does have a bit of snow on it. I'm not sure if you guys can pick that up or not. So it was actually snowing just a few minutes ago, and the whole sky is clouded over basically. There's no more blue sky. There's not going to be any stars in the sky tonight, I don't think, but it is going to get very, very cold, so I'm not worried about rain, but I may wake up tomorrow covered in frost or covered in snow. So if that happens, it's not a major deal. I'm just going to shake off the sleeping bag, but it's important to get the snow off before you crawl in, because the longer the snow is on top and you're inside, it will actually heat up and slowly start to melt. Now, these sleeping bags are very good at holding heat in, so typically the outside shell doesn't really melt snow that much. It's not really a big deal, but I will mention that if you guys, viewers, guys or girls, If you're worried about being alone in the woods, or if you're worried about animals in the woods, I don't recommend this style of camping, especially by yourself like I'm doing. I've been doing this for many, many years, and this is probably the ultimate experience outdoors while you're alone in the wintertime. Sleeping out in the open, sometimes being that kind of vulnerable feeling, is a very, very powerful feeling, and it's always nice to be in that kind of zen state. It's hard to explain when you're just laying in your sleeping bag and it's just silent, and you're out here in the middle of the winter with some nice snowfall. It's a really good feeling. So I don't recommend anybody do this if you're a beginner or if you're afraid of noises at night. Animals do often come by and kind of sniff your face and whatnot. So I'm going to be keeping this cinched really, really close. I've had raccoons sniff my face before. I've had squirrels try to get in. I've had coyotes sniff my underquilt on my hammock trying to get my granola bars that I keep in there so they don't freeze. So the wildlife is just part of the experience. So that's what's going on right now. I just wanted to give you guys a little update. I know the cameras get smoked out with smoke from the fire right now. So I'm going to finish up with this, and then I'm going to move back over to the fire area and square up that area, all the dishes and whatnot. And I did get a pot and a kettle on the fire, so I do have a pot and a kettle full of water right now that I'm actually going to place probably over here by my head area as well. And that'll be there for the morning. It'll likely freeze solid, so I'll have to melt the ice over the fire in the morning. But that's what's going on here. I just wanted to come over and make sure everything was squared up. Back over to the fire now. Alright, I'm just crawling out of my snow pants right now, and my socks are completely soaked. So let me explain what I'm doing here. I'm going to take my snow pants off because they are synthetic, and for the most part they're totally dry. But them being synthetic, they will melt and they will basically get destroyed by the fire, because I'm going to be sitting in front of this fire for quite a while. So what I've got is blue jeans on underneath. Now my blue jeans are wet down by the ankle. The reason why I wore blue jeans instead of another pair of synthetic is because I can sit right here in front of the fire and not worry about my pants melting or my boots melting or anything like that. I can just sit right here and get dry all night. So I'm going to be here for about 3 to 4 hours enjoying a bit of the fire and the heat. And as you can see, all the steam rolling off of my boots right now. My socks are wet. I do have another change of socks inside of my sleeping bag, so I'm not worried about that. But I just want to get these pants off and get them away from the fire. They are dry now, like I said, and then I can chill out right here in front of the fire and not worry about melting my pants. So kind of a hack. I know a lot of people kind of shy away from bringing blue jeans camping because they get wet and they get heavy, but they dry out in front of a fire very well, and you don't have to worry about getting damaged. So that's what I like to do, and that is basically what I'm going to be doing for the next few hours. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to bring you guys back as soon as I head into the sleeping bag. And yeah, hopefully I can dry out quickly, because it is getting very, very, very cold very quickly. So this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'll check in with you guys very soon. Okay guys, I'm just getting ready to crawl into the sleeping bag to go to sleep for the night, and just kind of give you guys a layout of what it looks like. So inside my sleeping bag, of course, I'm going to be putting the camera and my batteries and everything. But inside, what I'm going to be wearing is I have a balaclava. So this is like a hood that's going to go over top of my head, and that's my face hole right there. I also have a very thick ski mask. So this is for snowmobiling. I want to put that on underneath of this, so that'll insulate my face very nicely. I'm also going to be wearing my sweater to bed. And then I have my down jacket. So this is a down marmot jacket with no hood. I'm going to wear that on my top layer. I'm probably not actually going to wear it, but I'm more or less going to drape it over top of me as another insulation layer if I need it. If I'm nice and warm, I'll just kick it down towards my feet and leave it there. And if I want it, it's there. So that's that. I have another change of socks. So these are really long military socks. They go all the way up to my knees. This is what I wear when I go winter camping, keep my legs warm as well. And then I got these slippers. So these are not down slippers. These are actually synthetic filled slippers. And I've had these for almost 10 years now. And the reason why I went with synthetic instead of down is because when I'm out in my tents, I can stand on them and the insulation doesn't get compressed. So it keeps my feet warm inside of the tent. With down, if you step on it, it compresses and there's no insulation value. So I put these on as well, and that'll keep me nice and warm. And that's basically it. And of course I got my wax canvas that I'm kneeling on now. So I'm gonna take my boots off, place them here. I'm gonna tie them together, the laces, and then I'm gonna click them onto a carabiner to my backpack so no rodents or animals come by in the middle of the night and decide to take my boots for a walk. So that's another little hack that I like to do. I also got my knife on my hip, which is gonna go in my bag with me, so I'll be able to have my knife there. My headlamp is gonna basically sit around my neck when I sleep. Flashlight will be with me, all that good stuff. So I am now going to get everything cleaned up and basically crawl into the sleeping bag, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the morning for coffee. All right, so good night guys, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. It is a very, very cold morning out today. So I've been up for a little while now. I'm on my second cup of coffee, and I gotta say, last night was perfect. So right now there is golden sunlight rising up into the sky. So if you can see in the background, all the treetops around here are just golden yellow right now. This fire is crackling nice and hot. I got that going really early this morning. Some birch bark twigs. It basically took right off, no problem. And as you can see, the wind is back again today. So last night, everything came together perfectly. I was extremely happy. I was inside of my sleeping bag and I had my little balaclava here cinched up really tight, like really, really tight. And I heard a noise. I heard cracking and bumping in the woods, and something was walking around out here. So I opened my eyes, and looking up into the sky through the trees, nothing but stars. Unbelievable. So I immediately undid this, unzipped my sleeping bag with the hood up over my head, and I sat up, and everything in the forest was visible as if it was daylight. And I laid there for probably about an hour just looking up at the sky and the stars. Was absolutely awesome. Frigid cold, but awesome with those stars. So I did have to clear snow off of my face probably about 15 to 20 times last night. It got really windy and the snow started falling from the trees, landing on my little breathing hole, so I had to kind of clear off my face and tap the sleeping bag a couple times. But other than that, I slept extremely warm all night long. And I got a little bit chilly really early this morning, and I checked what time it was, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning, so it was time to get up anyways. So very, very happy with my sleep last night, and very, very happy with my coffee this morning. So I'm going to sip on my coffee for a little bit longer. Hopefully this wind will die down and the smoke will stop blowing in my face. But I'm going to sip on my coffee for a little bit more. I do have a Greek yogurt that I'm going to grab out of my backpack. And that's basically going to be my breakfast, coffee and Greek yogurt. So I'm just going to chill out here, do my breakfast routine, and then I think it's going to be time to slowly start packing up. I do probably have another cup and a half of coffee in here too, so we'll sip on that while I'm packing up. Now the bonus with pack up today is it's going to be super fast and super easy. No tent, no tarp, just sleeping pad, sleeping bag, that's it. And then all the other little knickknacks and cups and whatnot, but I got to get some food in me because I'm getting a little bit hungry, and coffee, so let's do that. Okay guys, I've got everything packed inside of the bag except for my shovel needs to go on the outside and my cup needs to go in. Now I did reconfigure a few things. My wax canvas is completely covered in ice, so I really don't want to put that inside. I just decided to click it on the outside. It is very cold out, so stepping away from the fire and packing up the gear kind of reminded of how cold it is. So I'm actually going to be leaving my sweater on hiking out of here because it is very, very cold. So the only things that I have left, like I said, is shovel. I got to finish up my coffee here because I do have a little bit left. And then I'm going to pack this inside of the bag and make sure the fire's snuffed out. Do a once over around camp and make sure I've got everything. I had a really, really great time. So this was a real no shelter winter camp. No tarp, no tent, no kind of shelter at all. Just a sleeping bag and a sleeping pad, and I had an awesome time. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, geez, you got a lot of hot tents and stoves, why aren't you out hot tenting? I will be hot tenting again, of course, but it's nice to step away from that every now and then and get out and just do a really fun, minimalistic camp, just to be reminded of how powerful Mother Nature is, and that cold and the snow. And I was treated last night with a sky full of stars, which was amazing, which you don't see under a tarp or from inside of a tent. So I had a really, really great time. I do highly recommend trying this if you're not afraid of wildlife or easily scared and your skill level is up there to try it. I highly recommend trying it, but start slow, start in your backyard and move up the skill level from there. So all in all, a really, really great time. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this trip as usual. And if you guys have any questions, drop it down in the comment section and I'll get back to you. But for now, I'm going to finish up my coffee. I'm going to pack this in the pack, get the camera down, and I'm going to hike out of here. So peace out, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.